Hosted by you/chemicalfroyo6239. I really need an outside perspective. I'm a 21-year-old male. I ended up in foster care at 9 years old because of the abuse I suffered at the hands of my stepfather, a man my mom kept choosing over me. Despite all the support and interventions that were supposed to protect me, my mom refused to kick him out. Even after she had a restraining order against him, she still let him back into our lives. Meanwhile, she went on to have 2 more children with this man, my half-brothers, who are now 19, Richie, and 16, James. It got to the point where it was obvious that no matter what, she would keep letting him back into our lives and allow him to make me a scapegoat for anything that was wrong in his life, so I ended up being removed. After I was removed from the home, my mom was allowed to keep and raise my brothers as if nothing had happened. From what I know, my stepdad never laid a hand on them. My mom and this man are still together, I know because I've checked her Facebook more times than I'd like to admit. Growing up, it was devastating to realize that my mom would rather give me up than fight for me. She could have kept me if she'd just left him, but she didn't. This abandonment left me with deep scars and a lot of issues to deal with as I grew up. It didn't help that she cut off all contact with me almost as soon as I was placed in foster care. She wouldn't even show up for court-ordered visits. Foster care was also really rough for me. I bounced around 3 different families, and it wasn't until the last one that I got any therapy to help me make sense of what had happened. A few days ago, out of nowhere, I got a Facebook message from Richie and James. They said they've been thinking about me a lot and want to get to know me. They even mentioned that our mom talks about me sometimes and wonders how I'm doing. They said they'd like to start some kind of relationship if I'm open to it. Richie even said he would be willing to drive him and James to visit me wherever I am in the country. They both seemed nice in this message, and I don't have an issue with either of them. At first, I was going to ignore the message because I don't want anything to do with my biological family. But then a darker thought crossed my mind. This could be my one and only chance to expose my stepdad for the monster he truly is. I could finally tell my half-brothers everything he did to me, everything he put me through, and let the truth come crashing down on them. I know that if I do this, it'll probably destroy any chance of having a relationship with them, but honestly, I'm not sure I want one anyway. I told my friend that I was thinking about doing this, and he said it's a really bad idea that won't accomplish anything I want it to. He said it will most likely just cause them to think I'm bitter and mean and won't make them have any issues with their dad. But, while I know it would be a difficult thing to process, I would want to know if my dad was like that. I would want to know the truth about how my dad treated other children. I don't know how much they know about why I was removed into care. So, would I be wrong if I went through with it? Update 3 days later. Hey everyone, I wanted to come back and give you all an update. First off, thanks for all the advice and different perspectives. I really needed to hear them. After thinking a lot about what everyone said and having a session with my therapist, I realized that my initial plan to tell my brothers everything about my stepdad wasn't really about helping them. It was more about me still holding on to the anger and hurt from my past, and that's not fair to them. A lot of you pointed out that they probably don't know the full story and are innocent in all this, and honestly, that hit hard. I decided to reach out to my brother Richie and told him I'd like to meet up. I didn't mention anything about our mom or the stepdad situation. I figured if we're going to start a relationship, it's better to take things slow and not dump all that heavy stuff on them right away. We ended up meeting at a cafe. I was super nervous, but when I saw them, it actually felt nice. They were both really nice, and we just talked about normal stuff, like what we've been up to, our favorite football teams, that sort of thing. It was weirdly easy to chat with them. At one point, James asked why I was placed in foster care. That caught me off guard, but I decided to keep it vague and just said that things were complicated at home back then, and that going into care was what was best for me at the time. James started pushing a bit for more details, but Richie told him to knock it off, which, honestly, was a relief. By the end of it, I was glad I went. They asked if we could stay in touch, and I said yes. I'm still figuring out how much to share about what happened, but for now, I'm just trying to focus on building a relationship with them. I've realized that while the past is important, it doesn't have to dictate how things go with them now. So yeah, thanks again to everyone who helped me see things more clearly. I'm feeling a lot more hopeful about this, and I'm really glad I didn't just go with my gut reaction to tell them everything right off the bat. We'll see where things go from here, but I'm cautiously optimistic. Update 2 1 week later. Before anything, I want to say that I read a lot of your comments. So many were saying I was selfish for wanting to expose my stepdad, while others were saying I was a coward for not doing so. Some people argued that I was allowing the abuser to get away with it by not telling my brothers, and I even received DMs calling me an abuse apologist. Some accused me of being a liar for not answering the question James asked when we first met. I never said I wasn't ever going to talk to them about my past. In my last post, I specifically mentioned that I'm still working on sharing my past in a healthy way, with help from my therapist. Yet, I had people acting like they knew best and that I should just tell them both right away, with so many arguing about it one way or the other. It feels like no matter what I do, there will be issues, and I will upset someone. I'm aware of that, and I'm trying to navigate this in my own way, so please be respectful of that, even if you would have handled it differently. I'm in no way letting my stepdad get away with the abuse. I tried everything I could as a child and teen to get him prosecuted. I've accepted that it's not going to happen. Just know that I am a real person who reads the comments, and not everything I do is perfect. But please, just be kind. I'm not saying this to stop people from giving me advice, I welcome advice. Just be positive and kind. I don't need more negativity. Anyway, in the week since my last post, I have met up with my brothers 3 more times, once with both of them, and twice just with Richie. There seems to be an instant bond between us, something I didn't even know I wanted. I'm really enjoying hanging out with them, which is amazing because I never thought I'd want to see any of my family again, let alone start developing a good relationship with some of them. When I last met up with Richie alone, we went to see a movie and then grabbed something to eat. We talked about our plans and what he's doing now, and eventually, the conversation shifted to me and foster care. I asked him what he had been told about me growing up. He said they hadn't been told much, but that our mom sometimes talks about me. I asked him what he remembered of me and why I was taken into care. He said he has some memories, fuzzy ones and some clearer ones, but he didn't know for certain what happened. He recalled a lot of fighting and arguing between me and our stepdad. He mentioned having one very clear memory of me but wasn't sure if it was appropriate to share it. When he asked me what I remembered, I told him it was difficult for me to talk about with people. He said he understood if I didn't want to get into it. I asked Richie what his clear memory was, and he recalled me being about 8 years old. He remembered our stepdad taking off all my clothes, putting a dog collar on me, and making me eat dog food. He said he remembered his dad hitting me with a belt as I cried while eating out of the dog bowl. This actually happened many times while I was growing up, but Richie said he only remembered it happening once. I started crying, and Richie immediately apologized for bringing it up, but I told him not to. I was actually relieved that he remembered some of the abuse I went through. He guessed that the abuse by our stepdad was the reason I was taken away, and I confirmed it. I asked if our stepdad had ever abused him or James, and he said no, he hadn't. However, Richie mentioned that he wasn't close to either our mom or his dad. He said they were never amazingly loving people, but they never abused him or James. He apologized again. We talked more about our childhood, and I felt safer opening up about the abuse since Richie already remembered some of it. We discussed it further, with me trying to answer his questions and him answering some of mine. He asked if the trauma still impacts me now, and I was honest, telling him that it does and that I've attempted to end my own life multiple times because of it. He apologized for not being there for me and for not sticking up for me. I assured him that nothing that happened was his fault or mine, and that we can't change the past. After we finished, we both went home. Later, he messaged me saying he's glad I grew up and managed to keep living. I think he meant it in a sweet way, even though it came off a little awkward. I feel really amazing knowing that I have a brother who seems to care about me. Just a few weeks ago, I couldn't have imagined that he would even like me.